It's Monday. Rick from DreamSideOut. Journal entry again into the 30 days of videos project. I'm sitting here this evening in my parking spot after a day of work, listening to the rain on the roof of my van with my rear roll-up door open about 1 foot at the bottom. Buddy heater on the right side of me going full blast, giving me some nice campfire feel. Warm my hands on it, which is the way I like to do it. I never burn my propane heater when the door is shut. Well, I do, but I never leave it on for. I never sleep. Let's put it that way, with my buddy heater on, because I just don't feel safe doing that. I had a long weekend helping my son build a cabin up in the mountains. It was fun. It was very tiresome, but it was kind of that good kind of tired. You know, when you build something, at the end of the day, you see what you've done, and it feels good. That's the best kind of tired to have, you know. It took me back to times when I was working with my dad on some projects. We would go out to, you know, on all kinds of weather, working on houses or something, and it just was kind of the same kind of experience for me. So it was a great weekend. Here I am, Monday, back at work. Did my 8 hours today. I have in my van right now a stack of drawings that I got out of my storage facility. I have many stacks of drawings, just like the one that I have in my van right now. So many that I've got to start getting rid of them because they're just taking up space. I don't think artwork is doing anybody any good if it's in a storage facility taking up space. What's the point? It's kind of like, you know, I can understand a museum having an archive, and then they bring the work out and show it to the public, and it's sort of a document of history. And that's sort of what it is to me, too. But then there's a lot of stuff that's just, you know, you look back over it, you see your struggle. I've had pros and cons over whether to keep the stuff or not. I've gone back and forth over that. There was a time when I had so much artwork it took up the entire, every square inch of our attic space was covered with stacks of drawings, paintings. You know, this is what happens if you've got that art bug. If the Lord gave you that in your heart, you're not going to stop doing it. You can't. You can't stop. You have to do it no matter what. It doesn't have anything to do with being famous, getting attention. That's not the point. Everybody has their theories about why a person is an artist. It has to do with it's something that's put into you and you can't not do it. If you don't do it, it feels like you're not eating or breathing or something. So you have to continue. Call it, I suppose if you're a psychologist, you could call it obsessive-compulsive disorder. I don't know, whatever you want to call it. Freud had his things to say about artists, but I don't think he was one himself. So how did he know? Anyway, all I know is I got to keep doing this. I want to talk about a little bit, reminiscing about my techniques of the past. Once upon a time, I'd say 25 years ago, I was at the Empress Hotel in Victoria, British Columbia. Beautiful hotel. If you ever get up there, it's an old, classic old hotel from the, you know, classic old architecture. It's really a cool place. It's actually the landmark building in Victoria, British Columbia to go see, at least from an outsider. But I happened to be there, and there was a cartoonist convention going on, and I remember going into the basement, and they had, well, at this convention, first of all, they had all of the famous cartoonists, and Disney was there represented, animation studios, everything. It was just a kind of cool place, and I was just fascinated with that whole thing. And I remember going in the basement, and I saw this guy sitting at a table with this box, this little box about this big, this tall. It had a little, looked like a TV screen on it, and a little keyboard in front, and it was called a Macintosh. And he was an artist. He was sitting there, and I was watching what he was doing on this little screen in front of him. He said, I'm going to be the first artist that's ever produced a comic book on a computer. And I'm thinking, wow. And it was, you know, it was one of the first paint programs that ever came out. It was 8-bit color. It had no blended tone at all, just black and white 8-bit, you know. I don't know, there's only a few tones, you know. You can't, everything's black and white. You make black and white out of just little pixels and spacing them apart. There's no graded tones at all. And he was somehow making a comic book look decent with 8-bit color, or 8-bit black and white. And I thought, man, I got to get one of these. This is going to be big. This is something. This is going to become something. This computer art thing, this is going to become something. And I remember just getting involved in it, and from then on, I mean, my career has been computer, some sort of illustration or illustration and art, and computers have always been involved in it. And what I'm doing now is, you know, you can debate over whether it's really art or not. And I don't talk much about my work because I want to be very careful about not representing my company in any way or disclosing any information that I shouldn't disclose. So that's why I'm cautious about talking about what I do for a living. Many people have asked me if I could talk about what I do for a living. The answer is no, I cannot and I will not. It's not because it's a secret. It's because I just don't, I just can't put myself in a position where I'm misrepresenting or even attempting to represent my company or disclosing any information. And that can be done, you know, sometimes you can do that without even realizing you're doing it. So you got to be careful. And if somebody finds out where I work, and that's great, fine. It's not like it's a big secret. It's not like I'm keeping it a secret. You can probably figure out where I work just from knowing where I live, what I've talked about so far. And that's enough. Anyway, that being said, the point is, throughout this career of mine, I've been involved in lots of different kinds of graphics and illustration and animation and virtual reality. Oh man, tell you, all kinds of weird stuff. But my heart and soul is painting and drawing, and it always has been, and probably always will be. And I see the computer as a tool for drawing. Now, the reason I'm saying all this is because the drawings I'm bringing out and showing as sketches are a lot of things I've done in the past. I still use traditional media, pencil, paper, and all that kind of stuff, but I also like to combine it with digital media because I think that just adds another dimension of possibilities to it. Some people think that's cheating, using digital media. I don't feel that way about it. I think it's if you draw and paint and you do that kind of two-dimensional imagery, you will soon find out that it's not really about the tool. It's not really about the medium. That all plays into it and has an effect. but it's about what you know. It's about your knowledge and your experience at it. You know, I've used just about every kind of drawing media there is. Charcoal, graphite, pastel, pen and ink, ink wash, watercolor, painting. I use oil, acrylic. I've even done paintings in egg tempera, like Botticelli, you know, that kind of thing. I've done lots of, if you do this stuff, you experiment with media, and you get different effects with different media, and they offer different things to you, but it's just like, you know, they're just different instruments to bring forward the imagery that you're interested in, to create something. And I found a lot of advantages and disadvantages to computer graphics. Well, I'm creating computer graphics right now in a way by making a YouTube video. This is something you just could not do 30 years ago. You couldn't sit and make a video and upload it and have an audience for your video. That's just crazy that you can do that in this world now. This is a long ways from that Macintosh computer that I saw in the basement of the Empress Hotel. You know, it's kind of funny. But I have this computer, this laptop computer, that's a very powerful computer. I can do digital imagery with it. And anyway, I'm going to start talking more on my channel here and in my journal about my art techniques and how it integrates into my life. And probably share some more of that with you as we go along. Tonight's just a talky video. It takes a lot of effort, too. I mean, there's a lot of work that goes into you know, creating a piece of imagery. Anybody that does that knows what I'm talking about. This is a non-trivial thing. You don't just, you know, sit down and whip something out because you're an artist. It takes effort and thought and trial and error, and a 90% of it doesn't work. You know, it's for me at least. Anyway, well, that was a rant of a journal, or a rambling journal tonight. It wasn't a rant, it was a rambling journal. Anyway, I'm just doing this as one shot. No, not a lot of edits in this one. So you all have a good evening. I'll see you tomorrow, and take care.